All right, guys, welcome back to the Run It Back podcast. It is Super Bowl week, Wes, and yeah, welcome to Super Bowl week. But yeah, welcome guys to the Run It Back podcast. I am Joy, your host. Alongside with me, as always, is Wes. How's your week today, Wes?
Hi, Joy. Hi, Running Back Nation. Happy to be going on a matinee show with you today. For everyone listening today, as we're doing this a little bit earlier, just to work around the Super Bowl. And for those who don't know what the Super Bowl is, it's basically NFL football, American football. It's their championship game. So I guess if you're based in Europe or Asia, think of it as like the UEFA Champions League or the FIFA World Cup final, kind of like
Yeah,
that. So yeah, so big stuff in this country, and I'm looking forward to the game tonight.
yeah.
But for now, we talk about racing, and I'm ready to get into it with you, Joy, about Formula One on this awesome Super Bowl Sunday.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's get into the hot laps. Well, probably one of the biggest news, right? I mean, it's not really big news, but like, it's still quite obvious. There's still a pandemic going on, and the pandemic, Formula One thought that this pandemic would kind of be gone, or like, there won't be a pandemic anymore when the season starts. But lo and behold, it's still here, and it is still affecting the calendar. And one of the biggest things is that Stefano Domenicali said that is that there could be two Bahrain Grand Prix again this year. Now, he said that he's constantly on the phone every single day, talking to event organizers around the world. But yeah, there's no details if if there is going to be two Bahrains, but there could be. And yeah, what are your thoughts, Wes?
I think it's just to cover their bases, right?
Right,
I generally think it's a good idea,
right.
just in case that the pandemic doesn't fully resolve itself
Hmm.
come season start time. I would like to see if it's just going to be two of the same track or if it's going to be the layouts,
That yeah,
varying layouts. But um, I don't know. I have no problem with it, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Bahrain gives good racing. It's one of my favorite tracks throughout the whole calendar.
Hmm.
And although I would love to see Albert Park again, uh,
Yeah.
looking to open the season at Sakir is not a problem for me either.
Yeah. And the article, it's found on ESPN, by the way. The article doesn't necessarily say, or Stefano Domenicali doesn't necessarily say if they're already looking to like changing the layout of the grid, because they're not actually entirely sure just yet if they're gonna need two Bahrain Grand Prix. And but he did also say, interestingly, in the article that they're really aiming for 23 races into the season, which I think I've already voiced my opinion. I think 23 is a lot. 21 seemed okay. 23 seemed like to be pushing it, but yeah, I mean, you know, if that's what they need to do, then I'm happy. But as long as it's Bahrain, which, like you said, it does give good races, which whatever layout we get good racing out of it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's okay for now.
Yeah, like I said, I have no problem with it.
Right.
Of course, it'll be interesting to see if the climate will change
Right.
as the days go on, but if that's what it looks like we're heading towards, so be it.
Right. Absolutely. And so yeah, let's move on to the Drive to Survive. Right. So Drive to Survive season is coming up. Um, I believe it's at the end of March. I'm not. Yeah, I should have checked the date, but it's coming up. And I saw this because Formula One posted on it saying that Drive to Survive is, or actually, it was Will Buxton saying that Drive to Survive is coming up. He has his own YouTube channel, and you guys should check it out. But yeah, he said it's coming up. It's coming up soon. I believe he said it was either March or June, like somewhere in between those two totally separate months. But yeah, your reactions, Wes. I can't believe they still was able to shoot Drive to Survive, even with the COVID regulations. Or yeah,
Sure. Well, I will also say, it's one of the more trending shows
right,
on Netflix. Like, even if you don't like Formula One or don't care for it, it tends to be on the Watch Now
right,
page, the front page of Netflix, right?
right,
So Netflix sees it as, okay, this is one of our attractions. Let's do whatever we can to keep it, especially since it's gotten pretty much positive reviews. And I will also say, from my personal experience, from talking to other Formula One fans, whether they're casual or diehard or even in the middle, avid, they said that they've had friends who didn't know anything
right.
about Formula One prior. Just showed them an episode or a season, and all of a sudden they're either hooked or have a better understanding of what the competition is about. So yeah, no, I mean it's pretty cool. I don't have a Netflix. I will admit that right now to the Running Back Nation. So I probably won't watch this upcoming season. And given I already have an idea of what they would show anyway,
Right.
so I mean, it's if you're. I will say though, I will recommend the show though if anyone here is curious to learn more and wants to know the innards and outwards of Formula One. Please check out Drive to Survive and maybe have your eyes peeled out for season 3 as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I do agree with you, right? It's a great basis to like learn, or just a great base to like learn Formula One, because it's a lot of the drama that we don't get to see on track, right? There's a lot of politics that play into Formula One, and I'm glad that this show exists for that reason, right? I would have never known that Christian Horner and fucking Cyril Abiteboul are like kind of. I knew that they were intense rivals, but I didn't know that the marriage between Red Bull and Renault were that sour at that point. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting, right? This year, the events that have happened uh, prior to COVID, all the driver moves, pretty much Mercedes using the DAS system. That was such a huge, like, it brought such a huge commotion in testing, and yeah, there's just so many things that happened this year, and then I just hope. I also hope that you know. I felt like season two was a little bit of a letdown. I will admit. I felt like there was so many stories that I feel Netflix missed, that I wanted to learn more about. But you know, then again, I think this is. I'm glad that we have this. I just wanted to see the drama in the back.
Oh, sure. I mean, it gives. I mean, like I said earlier, it gives a lot of insight to what would generally go on.
Right.
Yeah, of course, if you're at that level of avid diehard, you might criticize the show for not including certain detail
Right.
that happened throughout the season. But of course, you got to understand that some things are just better kept on
Right.
other avenues of Formula One,
Right.
and sometimes they wouldn't even allow Netflix crews anywhere near them, i.e., Mercedes,
Mm.
right? So, yeah, no, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for whoever's going to be consuming the show, and I mean, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wes, what was your favorite moment or episode in all of season, or like any of the seasons in Drive to Survive?
I would say when the news was circulating in season 1 about Ricardo going to Renault.
Ooh, okay, yeah,
And Christian Horner was like, "Oh, really? You spent all that money on one driver?" And then
yeah,
Cyril was like, "Oh, I got plenty of money." And then, of course, if depending on who you support in that divorce, whether that was Renault or Red Bull, you kind of wanted something to happen for your team, right? So if you're with Renault, you wanted DR to put Renault back in the conversation.
right,
If you're Red Bull, you wanted to see uh, what Max and his teammate at the time, which would have been Pierre Gasly,
Right.
would have done, and what the Honda engine could do. Of course, hindsight is 2020. Renault actually took a little bit longer than Cyril Abiteboul would have hoped and Daniel Ricciardo would have hoped to make them remotely close,
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
Red Bull had a career year both times, right? Last
Right.
season and the season before. So, yeah, and then of course now you look into today's climate. No more Cyril Abiteboul, no more Renault, at
Yeah.
least as the name. No more Daniel Ricciardo at Renault.
Yeah. Right.
Of course, on Red Bull side, you can say no more Pierre Gasly. Soon to be no more Honda. So it's kind of like, whoa, what is going on here?
Right. Right.
So, but no, that was my favorite moment of that series because if you ask me right now, I think Red Bull won that exchange.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your favorite moment. But yeah, that was actually also my favorite moment. So,
Oh, come on.
but my second favorite moment was when they captured Carlos Sainz's podium, right? When they captured Sainz's podium in the first podium in McLaren in season two, that to me in Brazil, right? In Brazil, that was incredible, right? McLaren, we've already said, is more of a fun team to drive for. The drivers enjoy it now, but like that was more like throughout the season. You know, we still kind of followed McLaren. We kind of followed Carlos Sainz a little bit more, but throughout the season, there was just a culmination of something's gonna happen, or and the thing that happened to McLaren is that they got best of the rest, and Carlos Sainz won driver or best of the rest, pretty much. And yeah, to me, like that was exciting because seeing McLaren back onto the podium was, it was exciting. No, it seems as though like the team, well, it signifies that the team is moving up, and they're kind of embracing this new role in Formula One. But they're still climbing, right? They're still climbing, and you could just tell like there's so much love between McLaren and Carlos Sainz that I can't wait for the episode this upcoming season where they're probably going to showcase the breakup, or Carlos leaving McLaren to go to Ferrari. So yeah, that I think was my second favorite episode or moment. So yeah, way to go, Wes. Thank you for stealing mine, but no, it's all good. Any
Man,
more
you asked me to
thoughts?
go first. That's you can't blame me for drawing first blood
That's
there.
true. That's true. That's true.
But
But
no, no. I mean, it's great. But I mean, very theatrical, very dramatic.
right,
It's a very good concept
right,
to promote a sport, especially in the country where Netflix tends to be the thing.
right, right. Absolutely. And yeah, like I mean, that's good. I kind of came prepared. I had like three moments, but yeah, it's pretty much that was pretty much. My third moment was actually Kevin Magnussen breaking the door of Gunter
Oh boy. I will say though, how he did not get cut is beyond
after
me.
that.
Yeah, because like in American sport, well, I
Oh
mean team sports, I would say. I don't want to just say American sports because I think there's cases where it's happened in soccer or
yeah,
hockey or rugby, right? Where
yeah,
like if you like if you hit your coach's door and break it, chances are you're not gonna be able to be let into the building tomorrow.
right, absolutely. And these aren't office doors. These are like moving. What do you call it, Wes? They're like moving skyscrapers, right? Because
Pretty much, they're like yeah, mobile homes. They
mobile
they
homes. There you go.
literally you
Mobile
can break them
homes.
down, you can build them up, but they have the quality as if they were fixed.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. I probably should have put that number two. Probably that was a lot more. Looking back at it now is a lot more fun. But yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. This is the week that McLaren had also released the video for McLaren Unbox, where Daniel Ricciardo was seat fitting at McLaren, right? And it was interesting, right, Wes? Like he seemed to be at home already, right? But that's Daniel Ricciardo. He's kind of like the sunshine that you know brightens up the room. But that's the thing. McLaren already had their hopes up. They already have so much momentum that McLaren already had like smiles on their faces. Um, but yeah, I just love watching this video because you kind of get to see the intricacies of what happens during a seat fitting, right? It's not just here's your seat, try it out. If you don't like it, then we'll throw it out. It was more of a okay, like it's tight around the hips, the what do you call it? The racing suits, the fire suits were a little too tight. Like these are the things that I never knew that happened. I kind of knew it happened, but I wanted to see it to kind of like believe it, if you know what I mean.
Sure. I mean, I think they're really the only team in the current grid that'd be willing to show you how that looks.
Yeah.
Right. Next thing you know, they're going to show how Lando's and DR's butt molds are into those seats. Just kidding. That idea stemmed of something that was seen on Instagram that I shared with Joy.
It was Vettel's, right?
No, it was like a Super GT seat because it had kanji on it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so okay, give the listener some context. Yeah, I saw a post on Instagram that showed a seat, a racing seat, and it was probably from Super GT or Super Formula, but it had the butt mold. So literally, those seat fittings, to Joy's point, those are taken very, very seriously because any kind of discomfort would pose a huge problem.
Absolutely.
Right? As it would, right? Like I'm sure. As much as Cristiano Ronaldo would love to have a soccer jersey that's showing all his abs, I'm sure at some point that's going to become a little bit too uncomfortable.
Right.
So, of course, you got to get the measurements right and everything. But to make things more informative on this segment, yes, Daniel Ricciardo looked like he was at home at McLaren, and he seemed ready to provide the icing on the cake for a team that's already on the upswing. So yeah, I mean, it's got everything seems to be falling into place. They got their drivers, they got the team, they got the facility, they got the engine.
Right.
It's just a matter of putting it all together and making sure it produces on the track.
Yeah, absolutely, and
they will be the first to reveal.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
not forget that.
Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the chassis of the McLaren, how much it's changed. But I remember Daniel Ricciardo. He did an interview the year before his first year at Renault, or like the year before, before the first year of his Renault tenure. They did an interview saying, how was the seat fitting, and he actually said that the Renault car was quite different from the Red Bull car in that the seat was actually a lot lower, so he actually couldn't see the edges of the car. He could only see the tires. And like, of course, you can't see the real edges of the car, but he felt that he was a lot more higher in the Red Bull seat. And it's funny because in this McLaren video, he actually said that he felt a little taller, compared to the Renault. So, I mean, that just goes to show, right? Like, these teams have so many different ways to allocate weight, right? Because you need to have the center of gravity on the middle of the car. And it was interesting to me. I don't know. I found it interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, it really is, to put in layman's terms, a crazy ass science project. Because you're pretty much building a car that's only going to be used pretty much for 9 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the whatever you have left of it, you got to either display it or see how many parts you could bring into next year's car. But
yeah. Meanwhile,
it's a big project.
Meanwhile, George Russell has to wear a size shoe down and has to apply more padding because his legs were hitting, because he's a lot taller guy than Lewis Hamilton for secure. But that's none of my business.
Well, I mean, right. I mean, that just happened on a whim.
Right.
I mean, granted,
he did look taller in that seat. By the way, like his head
Right.
was sticking out a little bit more.
Right. I mean, I would say that like sure, maybe from a fitting standpoint, it would have been looking back on it, would have made more sense to call up Van Dorn or
Right.
something like that.
Right.
But of course, because Mercedes is so obsessed with winning, you always want to put the best
The best guy.
chance for you to win. And that's not a it's not to disrespect Stoffel Van Dorn, but that's how a lot of teams think. So,
Right.
and of course, I'm sure he as well as everybody else understands that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so let's move on, Wes. So the question of the week is also from another article. I believe it's The Race. The Race put up this article, but Stefano Domenicali said that there were some manufacturers and teams interested in joining Formula One in the future. Whether that's, past 2021, it's fine. Like they're interested in the new regulations that are being put forth in 2022, right? And so, Wes, your thoughts on this, and give me the top three manufacturers you want to see join in Formula One.
Well, I mean, Formula One is the pinnacle of motor racing, right? And there are car companies that have motor racing aspirations. Of course, what keeps them back is that F1 isn't gonna bring them all that much to their market value,
Hmm.
right? So that's why some companies shy away from it.
Hmm.
But I think it would be nice to see more engines on the grid.
Right.
At some point, it will get boring just seeing Mercedes, Ferrari, Renault.
Right.
I mean, granted, there are other racing series that are just like that too, i.e., Super Formula. It's just Honda and Toyota,
Indy,
right?
Chevy, Honda.
Indy, Chevy, Honda, right? And then NASCAR, Chevy, Ford. You
Right.
know, so and well, I mean Toyota too, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, I would like to see a more diverse field.
Mm.
But then again, of course, it's just like a high risk, low reward kind of thing.
Right.
But I
Right.
can appreciate SD for trying to make it happen or at least have those conversations.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, what are the
And yeah, I know I got it. I got it. Don't worry. Top three manufacturers. Let's see. I would like to see Ford.
Ford? Okay.
Yes. Um, I would like to see Cosworth.
Cosworth? Okay.
Um, and I would like to see, because they make the engines for the McLaren road cars, I would like to see Ricardo.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
Jared or Joy did not know what a Ricardo engine was for 1 second.
For
We should
yeah,
we
I
should
was
make
like,
a motion. We should make a motion to question his validity. No, I'm kidding. Um, but yeah, no. So I mean, granted, 2 out of the 3 would just be engine suppliers, right?
Right.
In Ricardo and Cosworth.
right.
Um, it was a really hard question, Joy, because I thought about Toyota. You know,
Yeah.
I thought about because they do so well in INSA and they're trying to kind of electrify a little bit Cadillac.
Cadillac. Okay.
But and then Acura,
Acura.
but the Acura seems to be already well off in IMSA.
In
Same
IMSA.
with Cadillac.
Yeah.
Toyota is already better off in WRC and WEC.
Right.
So Ford, because they're so into their eco boost. Well, what happens?
I was
to be
about to say.
what claims to be eco as well? Formula One. So why not?
I was about
And
to
Ford,
say.
Ford
Yeah.
has a success track of success in Formula One.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And like, yeah, those are great choices, Wes. I was about to say, like, I would love to see the Ford EcoBoost kind of like logo implemented in any car. But yeah, I'm surprised you didn't say Toyota, because Toyota is actually my number one for the top 3 manufacturers, because they were heading to pretty much success, right, in their tenure in Formula One in the short 10 years. But of course, not 10 years, but tenure. But yeah, of course, 2008 happened, right? And a lot of teams had to pull out of Formula One, and Toyota was one of them. Honda was one of them. Uh, and I don't know. I feel like there is still this need in Formula One to satisfy the Japanese market, and who better to fill in that gap that Honda is leaving behind with Toyota, right? Like their biggest competitor in the Japanese market. I love to see Toyota. Now Toyota isn't like I'm sure like if Toyota joins, it's gonna be a full team rather than just an engine supply. Um, but yeah, like it does seem like as though they are more focused onto WEC and WRC, which I'm totally fine with. They're killing it in those two racing disciplines, so that's totally fine. But I would love to see them go into Formula One. I think it's good to have more manufacturers in Formula One.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so number two for me is Porsche, right? So Porsche has this story of conquering pretty much every racing discipline except for Formula One, right? Porsche is like they've conquered WEC, and like they've conquered GT racing, and they're still pushing the boundaries, you know, in Formula E, right? And that's the thing, right? Formula One is just still the racing discipline that they haven't yet, broken through. And I do think, like, in their first years of supplying engines, they weren't met with a real fair shake, right? Because they didn't have the time to develop the engines, and when they were able to develop the engines, Porsche just pretty much cut them out, or like the corporate just pretty much cut them out. So yeah, I think Porsche, as storied as they are, they should have a Formula One profile. And yeah, it would be fun to see Porsche because again, right? There's always also this rivalry between Porsche versus Mercedes, right? Who's the better German manufacturer? And yeah, I think that's just, I mean, I would love to see that happen. I would love to see that happen. I want to see that livery of that white, black, and red, right? And so more like the Formula E car. It's probably gonna look a lot more like the Formula E car. But yeah, and number three. This was actually quite difficult to pick, but I would love to see Lotus back in Formula One,
Sure.
which is it's probably the most far fetched manufacturer because Lotus seems to kind of you know gone away from the racing scene and it's strange, right? Because actually the real Lotus team is actually the Renault team right now. And if Lotus were to buy a new team, create a new team into Formula One, they would have to completely do it from the ground up. And that's gonna be a lot of money, and that's the thing, right? Lotus isn't that big of a manufacturer. They're kind of a small manufacturer, and just imagine the small Formula One team that they could probably uh, create. So yeah, that's probably the most far fetched one. But I just love Lotus's liveries, and I think it's too iconic to not have in the grid. But I mean, we don't have them in the grid anymore. So yeah, it's sad, but yeah, those are the three manufacturers that I would love to see in Formula One.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take. I mean, for Lotus, yeah, Lotus and Porsche were one of the options I considered as well.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? I could see Lotus coming back, but it would have to take an investment
Right.
from maybe Mercedes or
Right.
something to give them an engine,
Right. Right.
right? Or
Absolutely.
even
Or Renault.
some other company, right? Um, that would make sense. So yeah, no, I mean, or even Cosworth, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
we'll see.
We'll
But
see.
for now, it's a good idea to actually have that kind of conversation, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go, Wes, I need to get one thing from you:
Sure.
Bucks or Chiefs? Just for our fans, Bucks or Chiefs today?
Oh, I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh, okay, okay, decent.
Um, and of course, since this is a worldwide show, of course, everyone around the world should have an idea of who Tom Brady is.
Yep.
And I would hope that, although his story is already great, I would hope that we get a chance to see him lift that trophy for a seventh time in his
Mm,
career.
mm. I'm actually on the other side. Um, this is the first time I'm ever betting against Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. I've always rooted for him, but Patrick Mahomes is. I love that. I love that guy. I love how he slings the ball, and I think he is a difference maker. So I'm going for the Chiefs today. Chief Nation. Okay. Cool.
No,
Cool.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, we just got to wait and see, right?
All right.
I will say, of course, going against Brady is never a good idea. That's
Yeah.
a lesson. That's a lesson that I've learned throughout time, and that is
Absolutely.
probably what I want to share with the fans. That going against Brady is never a good idea. So, but sometimes you just got to send it, and Joy's trying to send it. Let's see if he gets his end plate knocked off, or if he's actually going to make the pass. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. That is our show for this week. Thank you guys so much for listening. Uh, come again on Sunday, and we'll have a fresh new episode. Thank you guys so much.
Keep it on track, everyone. Thank you.